Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 6 of Couch Readings. I'm your host, Ryan Thornhill, and we are very excited to share with you our live stream table read of Hardwicke 1849 by New Zealand playwright Siobhan Rosenthal. Hardwicke 1849 is a Black comedy that veers widely between an isolated woman's desperate attempts to find humor and substance in contemporary lockdown New Zealand, and the dismally unsuccessful attempt to settle the sub-Antarctic Auckland Islands in the 19th century. This play was selected for today's reading from our 12-hour theater fest we hosted a couple of weeks ago. Siobhan was one of the participants and wrote this piece in just one day, and it was an utter joy to watch all of the playwrights help each other and be a support system through our Facebook group. Reading for us today is New Zealand actor Kat Glass. Kat and I worked together on the 2017 season of Legacy Project as part of the Auckland Pride Festival at the Q Theatre, and I'm very excited to have her join us today for our reading. Hi there, Kat. Thank you for being with us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, very welcome. Now go ahead and just give us a little introduction to yourself, okay?
I'm Kat, and I work as an actor and also producer and director in Auckland, New Zealand, across the theatre and film industry. I do a lot of children's theatre as my bread and butter, a lot of MCing, very multidisciplinary, kind of got my finger in a lot of pies.
Very exciting. Awesome. Okay, great. Now let's not waste any more time and jump into our reading. So we present to you Hardwicke 1849 by Siobhan Rosenthal. A dirty mattress on the floor, a mannequin, a mobile phone next to the mattress, a large ship's rope running perpendicular across the stage. Hannah enters with a broom. She points it at the audience and mimes sighting through it as if targeting with a rifle. She then lowers it.
One must never place a loaded rifle on the stage if it isn't going to go off. It's wrong to make promises you don't intend to keep. I don't have one anymore, of course. They came and took it away. It wasn't even mine, just my father's, an old one, a hunting gun. I just hung on to it in case, you know? But then, what was it, Christchurch last year? And I had to hand it in. We were supposed to get money for them, but mine...
She drops the broom with a loud clatter.
...was too old to be worth anything. That's what the police said. First, they took away our guns, and then they locked us up. Stay at home, save lives. What's the big deal about life anyway? Oh, I see you there. You with the casual dressed-down outfit. You think life is worth it, don't you? Oh, you're having some difficulties with Zoom meetings due to the rural internet and your lovely out-of-town pad, but it's all worth it, isn't it? Just save lives and do your bit. Yeah, you too. You're helping homeskill the kids and making sure they do their ballet lessons remotely. You're all working from home now, aren't you? Because you have the kind of jobs that can be done from home. Sitting behind your screens, moving bits of spreadsheets and memos around. I mean, you're being careful. You didn't buy too much loo roll. Well, perhaps just a bit more. An extra pack, you know how it is at the moment. They're animals at the supermarket. Have to make sure there's enough for you and yours at home.
She waggles her butt at the audience.
Is your ass extra clean now? Look at mine. It's craggy, with old bits of shit stuck to me like a sheep. Because by the time I got to the supermarket, they were sold out of loo roll, you bastard, and wet wipes and hand sanitizer. That was you too, wasn't it? You idiot. It's not called arse sanitizer, you know. Yeah, you. You love life and protecting people, don't you? But you won't share your bog roll. I hate you. So yeah. How are we all finding this pandemic lockdown then? Are we baking? Keeping in touch with Granny via Skype, learning a new language? Well done you. Bit of a novelty being at home, is it? Getting all those little jobs done that you meant to. No, me neither. Let me introduce you to my pandemic lifestyle.
She lies down on the mattress.
This is my home workspace, which is coincidentally exactly like my sleeping space and also my hanging out and doing shit space. Like a hammock on one of those old coffin ships, except this voyage. This one's not ending anytime soon. Not now they've taken away my dad's rifle. You wonder how those poor bastards who were tricked into sailing down from London.
She hangs onto the rope that goes diagonally across the stage.
Let me off, she cried after months of seasickness. Throw me into the waves! All she wanted was to die, but the sailors hardened their hearts and, enough, let me die!
A phone alarm goes off. She switches it off.
Oh look, time for my pills. Measure out my day in coffee spoons and tablets. Don't put a bottle of pills on stage if you don't intend to spill it later, or down in one. Watch closely. This is my professional skill. Break it in two, like that, look. Exactly the same size.
She bows ironically.
Now remember, kids, don't do drugs. Only take the correct amount. Not too little and definitely not too much. You need to take these pills to keep you alive, and it doesn't matter if they make you fat and bald and unable to...
She takes the pill in half, it with water.
Yeah, that's better. 6 hours till the next. It doesn't stop the pain, but it makes you think it might. Like the way tinned spaghetti tastes. It's always shit, but every time you nearly convince yourself it's going to be different. Are you bored of watching me yet? Spoiler alert, this is the show where not much goes on. Not much changes in a pandemic if you're a professional pill popper. Perfectly possible to persist in a perceptibly, pathetically, personally life of patient people avoiding isolation in a pandemic lockdown. But that would be an awful lot of peas. And like I said, you wealthy bastard over there, you took all the toilet paper.
She raises her hand to throw the bottle of pills at the audience, then hesitates.
No, don't do that. Might need to take them later. No, not going to do that, I said. Nothing would happen.
She puts the pills down.
They were told there would be everything when they arrived on the islands, even lobster. No one was sure where the Auckland Islands were. South of New Zealand, that's all they knew. Perhaps they were in the tropics. Perhaps there were coconut trees too. Morning is a new country, don't you think? So important to get dressed, even if you're only working from home. Sod that shit. I change my pajamas every couple of weeks. When they arrived and they saw what it was actually like, after all that time of vomiting their guts out and crying to the sailors to let them die on the ship. Making your own bread, are you? Oh, you ran out of yeast. That's a shame. You should try the white slice stuff the food bank bring round. It's inedible, but it's great for wiping your ass. Still, at least they got isolation. Chronic illness has its upsides too. I get to avoid small talk and germs. I was self-isolating before it was cool. So I'm here to help you hard-working, materialistic cockroaches adjust to your new life at home. Every day, dead on 1 p.m, I break off from normal programming to bring you Hannah's Pandemic News Special.
She brings forward the mannequin, stands beside it, dons a dark-haired Jacinda wig.
Welcome to today's governmental press conference. New Zealand still advises against drinking bleach, unless of course you are unemployed, and we are working on further border controls designed to keep out the orange virus with mad hair and tiny hands. Now today I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Lobster, who will be advising us all on fun ways to prepare freshly caught sewer fish at home. No, I'm sorry, ladies. Dr. Ashley's having a day off from the press conference, so you can all stop making little wet puddles of anticipation on your sofa. Are masks going to be mandatory? Only if you are an ugly sod. Should schools take pupils back? Don't be silly. Kids are nasty little germ factories at the best of times, and families need to be forced to fester together at home in a fetid familial petri dish. Bubble. What are the relative pros and cons of quarantining travellers versus shutting borders? Well, that is an easy one. Whichever shuts out the most Australians. Shortage of vaccine manufacturing capacity. No, that is fine. We'll just borrow and beg from Canberra. Special Anzac relationship. Blah, blah, dawn service. No, don't drink bleach. I mean it. No drinking bleach allowed. Is McDonald's an essential industry? Should hairdressers be euthanized? Most of the world remains susceptible to a second wave. Taiwan has cut down all its tulips to stop people going outside. Cats are possible vectors for transmission, but only the very large ones. So if you have a tiger secreted in your home, please keep it there for now and don't lend it to your neighbour to mow the lawn. And now for the really urgent question, the one that you've all been waiting for. No, the government is not changing its advice on drinking bleach. This is a more serious matter. Should toilet paper manufacturer shareholder dividends still be paid? All right, that's enough for me. I will take questions. Yes. What about the chronically ill? Has lockdown actually changed anything for them? But look, as a government, we're focused on the well-being of all during this prioritising an Indigenous outreach time. So the implementation of udders and potatoes ought to make it quite clear that we octopize to maximise. 8 legs good, virus bad. Yes, you with the bad home haircut. No, don't put all your hands up at once. No, I'm sorry. Regretfully, despite all our efforts, there have been some tragedies as a result of the coronavirus. Several deaths, and unfortunately, latest reports suggest that Dr. Ashley is still married.
Knock off stage.
Oh, excuse me. We interrupt our special pandemic broadcast for an urgent delivery from the gourmet home delivery company I exclusively use. Only kidding, it's the food bank.
She goes off stage, returns with a cardboard box, sets it down unopened.
In 1849, a small but determined party of intrepid adventurers unloaded their crates of possessions from the ship to settle the then uninhabited Auckland Islands. Oh yeah, actually, they weren't uninhabited at all. Surprise! This weekend is Remembrance Day, and we will be encouraging people to wear non-Taiwanese tulips for a dawn service in remembrance of those who gave their lives selflessly for the project of stealing land from others, something which every Pakeha New Zealand benefits from today. The Auckland Islands are sub-Antarctic. They benefit from incessant driving rain, and rather like chronic illness, is a place where no one in their right mind would want to live. Do you think I'm droning on? Well, you try 3 years on Auckland Island with nothing to do except fall out with your neighbour and watch the daily rain.
She comes back to the mannequin, links arms.
Which reminds me, as we move into level 3, I know it's boring, but stay the course. Don't give up the gains. Be kind, stay at home, save lives. Surfing, short day walks, and...
She picks up the broom again and points it at the audience.
Hunting of beneficiaries for sport is however permitted as long as social distancing is maintained. Give the chronically ill a head start, though. They tend not to be very good at running away.
She opens the cardboard box and starts taking tins out.
Ugh, tinned spaghetti, more tinned spaghetti. Oh, look, it's baked beans and a note. Jesus loves you. Well, that's nice. Did he pack the box himself? Let's hope he loves bright orange food, because I fucking don't.
She throws the tins across the room.
Daily rations of ship's grog. Keeps you drugged and docile. Stops you thinking too much. But you'll be flogged if you steal any extra. Don't do drugs, kids. Accept the drugs we want you to take. Those you must take, but only in the proportions we allow. Tin opener, where's my tin opener?
She finds the tin opener, starts to open a can, gives up.
It must be nearly medicine time again.
She takes a few more pills, this time not bothering to count them out.
The Auckland Islands settlement did not have polio, cholera, typhoid, influenza, scarlet fever, or any other communicable diseases. This is because all the infected people had died on the long voyage from England, and everyone else in the southern colonies knew the islands were uninhabitable. The settlers were therefore left to themselves. Their only visitors were sailors suffering from scurvy, who were devastated to find out that the settlers did not have vegetables. This, to use a technical term, was because the soil was fucked. Trying to farm on the Auckland Islands was like trying to get a can open with a broken tin opener. You back there, you with the half-acre view of the sea, I bet you're enjoying your lockdown gardening. I bet you've taken a daily photo and put it on Facebook. Lockdown luck, haven't you? Maybe I should see what happens if I plant spaghetti.
She has another go with the tin opener, fails, starts to build a tower of cans.
When the settlement was eventually abandoned in 1852, a large pile of baked beans and tinned spaghetti was found on the beach. The scurvy sailors had refused to eat it on the grounds that nothing so vile and orange could possibly be food. Recently, the Department of Health launched an expedition to assess the islands for any signs of habitable life, and more recently, notices were posted advising any surviving pigs to be kind and keep 2 meters away from the seagulls. Lobsters are not found on the island. God, I'm hungry.
She manages to open a can with great effort. She looks at it and shakes her head.
Not that hungry.
Lies on the mattress.
Days I can't move are much like the days I can. My body is an island like the sea swilling angrily around me. No one comes to harbour here. There are no whales to catch, and the weather is terrible. I snap and snarl at anyone who comes near me, and so I live alone. Alone is great, though. It means you don't have to share your rations of tinned spaghetti. Don't worry. Stay home. Save lives. This too will pass. You'll be allowed out again soon. And hey, if you're really super lucky, you may even still have a job.
She sits up again, starts collecting the tins back into the cardboard box.
Oh, me. Well, me, I suppose if lockdown ends, then maybe just maybe I'll have to go queue at the food bank and pick up my own parcel. No home deliveries of baked beans for me then. No, sorry. Don't be getting above yourself, girl. Next you'll be wanting a working tin opener.
She holds all the tins in their cardboard box, staggering slightly under the weight.
Maybe if I'm extra lucky, I'll get called to a work readiness interview. Because the work-ready social welfare, infinitely compassionate, be kind, save lives, break the system. You know what? I'm kind of tired of it all.
She puts down the cardboard box and picks up a spoon with which to eat the spaghetti. She tastes it, makes a face, drops it, and picks up the pill bottle.
It's been a rough voyage. Kind of a rough lifetime, actually. They say Dr. Ashley is still happily married.
She scoops out the tin spaghetti and pours it over her head. Then she turns to the mannequin.
Hey, doctor, what do you say? Like the home here, Di? No, me neither. Any new prescriptions for me? Fancy a kiss? Oh, just a quickie after the show. No? You've got to hurry back to your gorgeous wife. Of course you do. I think I'll have a few more of these.
She swallows a handful of pills, then glares at the audience.
Oh, fuck off, all of you. Aren't you bored yet? Nothing is happening. Don't you get it? Another chronically ill person with depression is taking their own life. It's not news unless it's death by COVID. So go and watch your online free Mandarin conversational Les Mills exercise class. Well, you know, once I saw a painting where the telephone was made out of a lobster. You can ring for help all you want, but you're still talking to a cold fish.
She calls on her phone.
Hi! You sound nice. Want to have some fun? I haven't got any undies on. No, I'm not talking dirty. I really don't. I'm in my pajamas because the winter clothing grant hasn't been delivered. The system keeps declining approval for online shopping, and the elastic fell out of my undies. And my pills, they stopped me, So I'm wondering if you have any ideas for keeping me and you both warm. The bastard hung up.
She goes to the mannequin and pushes it over.
He didn't sound much fun anyway.
She phones again.
Hi! I want to get out more. No, I don't mean now. I know. No, I know we all have to stay at home for now. I mean, after this, next month or next year, next century, I want to get out and walk around, see people, speak to them, feel my mouth unrusted by silence, kiss a real man, not Dr. Ashley. That is what I want. Yeah, I know, stupid. Save me. Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, I took an overdose, though. No, hey, calm down. No panicking, okay? Only kidding. Of course I didn't. I just wanted to wake you up. I guarantee I won't take any steps towards suicide. No, absolutely. Just let me shut the door. Back in a mo.
She puts down the phone and swallows a few more pills.
Yes, I'll have a hot bath and maybe a nice cup of tea. Fantastic. That'll sort me right out. I won't know myself. Yes, I know it's tough for everyone right now. No, I don't have any friends to Skype. That's why I called you. Oh, fuck off. I mean, no, thanks. No, I don't want a befriending service. Yeah, bye. Thanks, Mr. Lobster. Thanks for nothing. I mean, for listening.
She howls suddenly.
I am nothing except the entanglements of my mind. All my past and present pain and sorrow sucked and crushed into skeleton crammed in this house a sardine. If only they gave out sardines and whale bones. I am a whale stuck on this beach.
She picks up the broom, sucks on its end.
Years and years since I sucked a man. Suck out the marrow of the lobster, chew it and let it trickle down. I remember life when I was well, like you remember when you could go earn money and leave the house. This too will pass. Stay home, stay safe. Well, no, it fucking won't. Not for me, not this time, not this.
She picks up the broom and aims it at her head. Then she attempts to fire it before realizing what she's doing. She stops, shakes her head, goes back to the pill bottle, takes a few more. She turns it upside down to make sure it's empty. Then she staggers, grabs onto the broom for support, makes her way to the rope and hangs onto it.
The wind whipped and howled around the edges of their shacks. There was no food to be grown and little to hunt. The prison was made of bent timbers, so could not hold them. Therefore, a plan was made to house prisoners on a separate island where the wind and the sea acted as their walls. They stayed there waiting.
She falls onto the floor, looks up, crawls to the mattress, lies there for a minute, grabs her phone and yells into it.
Enough! Let me die!
Pause. She drops the phone, sits up, then speaks very calmly.
Isolation sent them mad in the end.
Blackout. Very good, Kat. How did that feel for you?
It's intense. It's a very raw, emotional script, but I think what surprises me is the humor and fun in it as well.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I can only imagine, from your end of it, just probably like emotionally exhausting, going back and forth and then jumping from happy to sad. And well, we're going to jump into that. That is one of the questions that the playwright asked. But first, before we jump into that discussion about the play, since the playwright couldn't be here with us today, she gave me a statement she'd like me to read. She says, "The 12-hour playwriting challenge was a huge opportunity to overcome self-doubt, nerves, and usually consistent present inner critic. I knew I wanted to write about the lockdown from the perspective of the chronically ill, but had no other ideas. I began to look through a recent copy of The Economist and lifting lines from news stories at random. Then I imagined how they might work in a fictional news broadcast, which morphed into a send-up of Jacinda and Dr. Ashley's daily press conferences. From there, the setting and speaker took on a life of their own. Clearly, there is always a crossover between life and art. The character is hopefully very different from myself, but I am, like her, disabled, with a chronic illness, a consequence of a brain injury sustained through domestic violence. Unlike her, I find joy in living, partly through creativity, but most importantly with the overwhelming kindness I have of my 3 young sons. In the interests of accuracy, I should also record that my dog and I both hate orange stuff like Donald Trump and tin spaghetti. My 15-year-old son will be listening, so I feel it's important to reassure him that I am happy, despite also being ill. It's I'm so happy that she sent that through to me, and I thank her for that.
Same.
Because it's so nice to get a sneak peek into what's going on in the writer's mind when they write a piece and how it connects with their life. So thank you very, very much, Siobhan, for sending that through. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into a quick discussion here. Before we get some questions from her, I like to ask the actors just a few things that could spark possible discussions about the piece. So Kat, could you just give me a one-word response or short phrase that expresses your gut level impression of the play?
I mean, I kind of feel like I captured it before. Definitely the word raw comes to mind. I hope that comes out in my Kiwi accent. R-A-W, not the sound a lion makes, although that could be pertinent too. Yeah, it's just raw. It's very real. It's very truthful. And I didn't see much of that in a critic on the page. I felt like it was a really free, fluid piece of writing, very experimental, and I'm really glad that Siobhan, I hope I'm saying that right, wrote it, because it was really fascinating.
Well, I think when you take that vulnerable side of yourself and just pour it out, I think that's when you can really get some like just very true and nice words, a nice play, because you're just letting it go, you're not trying to hide anything, you're just being yourself. And I think that's why this is such a powerful piece. Okay, the next question is, what moments in the play stood out to you the most?
I guess topically, very much the moment with Jacinda and her little brown wig and mannequin press release sort of dance. That was very surreal to me. Kind of genre-wise is something that really appeals to me anyway, but is obviously very topical, especially for New Zealanders watching the daily. We get a daily live press release with Jacinda Ardern and the famous Dr. Ashley. That whole flirtation around Dr. Ashley is really funny. But I think beyond that, I don't even need it to be that topical, because the stuff that really sings out to me is drawing that parallel between the isolation of the settlers, the failed settlers, and the chronically ill being stuck at home and stuck by systemic inequality. And I think that was a really pertinent and beautifully well-crafted parallel to draw.
Yeah, and I think it's so Kiwi, it's just like everything about it. Like you said, the parallels between the two, going back and, back to the settlers and then tying it in with the isolation. I just thought it was just beautifully, beautifully done. I've been, sifting through plays a lot during the trying to pick out for these couch readings, and I don't think I found one that's just so, like you said, raw and truthful. I'm so happy that we were able to present this today. All right, so now I asked Siobhan beforehand just to give a few questions, since she couldn't be with us, to go ahead and just have a discussion and hopefully help her out if she does decide, she wants to edit or rewrite. So her first question for you, Kat, was, what was it like switching from serious to comic and back again? Do you think there could be more of either?
It felt really balanced for me. I mean, obviously, it's quite a frenetic performance, which is quite difficult to do from a seated position with headphones on a little screen. So it's one that I would love to either act or direct somebody to put on its feet, because I think that could really work in a live performance venue or in a workshop, and really get that transition really fluid. But I think that I believe all of it. I believe that she has the capacity for all of those feelings. Her sense of humor, I think, is the really great thing that segues her from one state to the other. She can kind of have that black humor that can kind of tip herself or trigger herself into feeling kind of high or low. And so she's kind of, which is a tricky thing with a solo to generate changes of emotion. So it's a really clever little device that Siobhan has created for that character. I'm really intrigued by it. Okay, so I just got a message from her, and it ties into the question that we just discussed. She says she would like me to tell you, Kat, that she thought it was so impressive how you did that job with just facial expression and voice without having a whole stage to bounce around. And she says that was exactly how she imagined the character, and she thanked you for that. So yeah, I figured that it'd be a good time to bring that in because it tied into that question, like you were saying about not having that stage to bounce off of with such a, because I can just imagine, like from a directorial standpoint, just an actor bouncing around, like using every single piece of space that they have available to them because of it being such a just a ramp up, So yeah, but again, like she said, just imagined how she imagined it. So well done to you on that one. Okay, now the next question is: were there any sections of the piece that dragged slightly, so it felt like you had to work harder to bring them to life? That's a really good question. It's a little bit hard when you're in it. You're like, I lost my page very briefly in there. There was a weird bit. That was me losing my page, not because it was badly written. A couple of the monologues, I guess, this is actually a writer's tip in general, is if you were ever listing something, cut it. Because a list is a really great way to generate ideas and get lots of concepts down on a page. But in general, you can always edit a list really easily. And I think some of the monologues really easily follow that format where the idea has already been expressed and then it's expressed again in a different way. And they're all fun. They're all great. But if you were looking for brevity or a way to be more economical, then that's where I would look first. But that's not even from my own feeling. That's only in order to answer the question. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm sure that was extremely helpful. Okay, and then the last one here is: how did you feel about the character's antagonism? Was she too angry, or did it work in the context? Yeah, that's something that I would be interested to workshop as well. It's very much a script that I would be interested to see benefit from a workshop process. Yes. Because I think that's a question that could really only be served by an audience in front of you. And I think her saving grace is definitely her humor. So she can get her audience on side before she alienates them with some of her harsher or more difficult to swallow attributes. Yes. But yeah, I think she has the capacity to sit just comfortably and just fine. Very true. Very true. Great. Now that's all that we had from Siobhan. Now, Kat, is there anything that you would like to mention or discuss, or anything that you would like the playwright to know? I feel like it's a really interesting script that I feel really lucky to have an insight into the experiences of people with chronic illness. It's one of our areas of representation that we don't get a lot of on stage. Yes, we've made great steps in terms of not good enough, but some great steps in terms of better minority representation on stage. Mm-hmm. But I personally would love to see sort of people from disability backgrounds and their stories on stage. And so I'm just super excited to read something like this. And I feel like it mirrors some stories in the media that I am responding to at the moment in terms of our representation of lockdown. And we're just representing lockdown as this happy, shiny, upper middle class experience with people who can afford to have a happy, shiny middle class experience. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this goes some ways towards addressing that inequality as well. Okay. Yeah, very true. Very true. It's very interesting in this time, to see how different people are reacting to this lockdown, and especially someone with a chronic illness. I can only imagine that life is difficult in general.
there's all these boundaries and hurdles they have to jump over. And I guess what I'm trying to say is it's nice to see Siobhan write a piece like this, that she can just still be there's still so much light in her life, and there's still, you know what I mean? She doesn't let that stuff get her down. Yeah. So I think that was amazing. I've got some comments here that I want to just, people are loving it, which is good. So I wanted to show this. So great to hear out loud. What a great reading. What a script. Super impressive. I'm so happy that it's getting such good responses, because I knew, like I said from the beginning when I read this, that it was something that needs to be heard. And I'm with you 100% on this needs to go somewhere. It needs workshopped or whatever. And then that'll jump me in here to my few shout outs that I like to talk about every week. Exciting things that our artists that are with us today have going on. So first off, we have, before the lockdown, Kat had a few projects she was working on. Let me just pop this up here. And we'd like to, I feel that it's very, very worth mentioning, because we are all very confident that they'll be back again for us to enjoy. So through Tim Bray Theatre Company, she's performing in an Auckland tour of a children's show called Greedy Cat. They are currently fundraising with the hopes of touring in the future. And then through Dusty Room Productions, she stars as an astronaut in a show called Alone, a hard-hitting space drama which won Best Theatre and tour-ready production at the Auckland Fringe Festival. So there you can see the names. Jump on Facebook and just keep up to date and see when they'll be back with us and get to see them. Next, we have Siobhan has exciting projects coming up. Actually, Kat, you'll be interested. The piece that you heard today will be developed for the Tahi Solo Theatre Festival this coming October. So it's gonna get put up. People are gonna be able to see it, and it's gonna be on its feet, which is really, really great. And then she has another piece going to be featured in the Centrepoint Theatre Lockdown Playwrights Project to be shown when everything's back up and running again. So go ahead and check them out on Facebook as well. Kat, thank you so much for being here today and presenting this powerful piece. I extremely appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. During this hard time, there are a lot of organizations that can use our help. Every week, I like to feature an organization that is near and dear to the playwright's heart. Siobhan has chosen the New Zealand Red Cross. Now, I'm sure you all know what the Red Cross is about, but here's a little bit about their COVID-19 efforts that I feel need to be mentioned. Members of the New Zealand Red Cross are on the ground helping Kiwis in lots of different ways, doing things like delivering around 11,000 meals every week through the Meals on Wheels program, delivering medical supplies from pharmacies to vulnerable people thanks to the disaster response volunteers, and providing regular remote check-ins to more than 350 former refugee families around the country. Please check out www.redcross.org.nz to donate or learn more. On behalf of myself, Siobhan, and Kat, I would like to thank you for joining us today for our couch reading. Follow Thornhill Theatre Space on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up to date, and join us next week for our next couch reading. Again, thank you for joining, and have a great day.